I went out and made calls to all of these artists and got to meet a lot of them, which was an extraordinary experience for me. And I asked them to get these pieces, and some of them gave pieces that are worth literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some of them, less, but lots of money. And for me, I've lived with a nightmare that, this day would come and they wouldn't get value for their work. And you had this group come along. You had a philosophers camp with Emerson and Thoreau in the northern part of the Hudson, up in the Adirondacks, but most importantly, you had a group of artists who came along and began doing something nobody had really done before, which was to paint these indomitable landscapes. And what they were saying to the American people is, you don't have to be ashamed because you don't have the 1,500 years of culture that they have in Europe, because you have this relationship to the land, and particularly the wilderness, which is the undiluted work of the Creator. But the most important people to make that statement to the American people in the most indelible way was this extraordinary school of artists. And we have here, ironically enough, a New Zealand artist who is classic, Tim Wilson, who came here all the way from New Zealand. He went Falcon with a day on the river, and came back with this extraordinary portrait, which I think rivals anything of Bierstadt's, and he's come again from New Zealand tonight. I encourage you to go and shake his hand. And I saw demographic data when I was in college that showed that those white people who had stood next to that train track and fought for my father during the 1968 primaries in 1972 voted not for Robert Kennedy or not for George McGovern, but for George Wallace, who was diametrically opposed to everything my father believed in. And it occurred to me then, and it struck me many times since, that every individual, like every nation, has a darker side and a lighter side. And the easiest thing for a political leader or an artist or a thought leader to do is to appeal to our xenophobia, to our hatred, to our greed, to our anger, to our self-interest. And the much more difficult thing to do is to get people to transcend their narrow self-interest and see themselves as part of a community. And that's what artists do. They seek for universal truths. They try to uncover the things that make us similar, the things that unite us together, that form a community for all of us. And it's the same thing that I do. I've spent 30 years fighting for the Hudson and for the 200 rivers around the country, where we now have patrol boats patrolling those rivers, suing polluters. And for me, bringing these two themes together, of art and the environment, is the natural culmination of 30 years of my life. Thank you all very much.
Clean water means my life. It's my life's work. I paint water. That's what I do.
There are over 200 water keepers fighting on the front lines to protect clean water. What might you say to them?
Well, I can't imagine a more admirable job. I really can't. It is the most important thing we have. It is the most important resource. Well done, you guys.
You're so passionate about it.
You guys are just something else. You are extraordinary, and it's an honor to be in your company. Thank you.
And so tell us a little bit about your homeland and what water means to the Kiwis.
We're islanders. Kiwis, we're islanders. Water is everything to us. We live in it, we play in it like everybody else in the world does too. But we're very proud and passionate about our record as conservators of the land. And I, for one, am utterly passionate about it. Like I say, it's my life's work. I paint it. I live it. I love it.
And what
you need to come and see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite water body?
My favorite water body is the Pacific Ocean.
And
that's
why?
my sea. That's my home sea.
And why? Because it's your home.
It's like everything else in my life. It puts everything into my work. It puts everything into my life. It gives me life.
Oh, that's
I love it.
amazing. That's amazing. So I actually work to protect the Hudson River. So this painting means something very special to those of us that live along the Hudson.
Well,
can you tell us a little bit about that day that you went to the Hudson?
That day with Mark Yagi was quite extraordinary. It was a day between 2 days of snow. and it was just glorious. And this beautiful light that I guess is obviously unique to the Hudson, certainly. And the picture that's come from it is made from that day, but also from my passion about other painters, great painters, landscape painters that have gone before and have inspired me. And it's my life's work, and I owe it to them as well. Yeah, so it's pretty special, and it was just so cool to have the opportunity to be part of it.
Thank you so much.